In this session, we will discuss about factorial design. In many experiments, we can see that two or more factors are being investigated. In this situation, we can use this factorial experiment. Therefore, if you are having two or more than two factors, if you wish to use for investigation, then you can directly apply this factorial experiment. And in here, we are emphasized that the interest is centered on effect of two or more factors on a measured response. Therefore, here we can say for the two factors, we can measure their responses. And this is actually completely different from what we have discussed previously as the randomized complete block design. In the randomized complete block design, we just had actually two factors were considered, but we have considered one variable as extraneous variable. It is just to control the experimental error. We use that blocks to just to control the experimental error. Therefore, we have used one variable as one factor as block. Therefore, we are not going to pay our interest regarding finding the effect of that variable. We just need to representation of the variable only. And when we go for this the Latin square design, in the Latin square design, actually we were able to use the three factors. We were able to use the three factors. One is the treatment and row factor and the column factor. But in that situation, we were not able to identify any interaction. In the Latinisca model, we have assumed that the model is an additive model. Therefore, if you need to identify the interactions, then again the Latinisca model cannot be used, even though it has three factors actually included, but you cannot identify any interaction terms in that model also. Therefore, now to override all those problems, we can apply this factorial design. When we are going to apply the factorial designs, we may have the values for factors which we are used in the experiment, and we are calling them as levels. In the factorial design, we may have two or three or more factors. Then for each factor, we may have levels. And in the factorial design, we are going to deal with the model which the factors are studied with the levels of each factor being purposely rather than random. Therefore, when we are going to study using the factorial design, rather than using a randomly technique, we are studying for the levels of each factor in a purposely manner. Therefore, we are assuming the experimental units purposely to these blocks. Actually, we can say it as factor levels inside this factorial design. And this is what I have explained previously also. This design allows us to compare the treatment combinations in the same experiment. It means that, and now think about if you are having three factors, then we can identify whether there is effect from first factor, whether there is effect from second factor, as well as from the third factor. And other than that, we can say them as the main effects. Then other than the main effects, we can go for the identification of interaction term or interaction effects inside this factorial design. When we are going to apply the factorial design, we can use the graphical methods. We can use the graphical methods to identify the interaction among the factors. Actually, this is a visual method that we can use, but we cannot say it as a confirmatory method, but as a preliminary method, we can apply this graphical method. Therefore, when we apply graphical methods between the factors, for the factors that are being investigated in our experiment, then we may able to obtain the graph. If normally for two factor factorial design, we can apply this. It is because in a 2D plane, it is not easy for us to show 3D models or for likewise any higher dimension model. Therefore, most of the time, if we are dealing with two factors, we can simply use the graphical methods as a preliminary method for identifying whether the interaction is exist or not. Okay, now if you obtain the graph, and now you can see that if there is no any interaction between the factors, then definitely we can say that graphs have the parallel. We will obtain graphs with parallel line once we have plot them for the means of the treatment combination. Normally we are plotting these graphs for the means of the treatment combination, or else if you need, you can have the totals even. Normally we are plotting these for the mean values of treatment combination. Therefore, if there is any interaction exists, then we can easily identify that the lines will not be parallel. Therefore, if the lines are parallel, then we can say that no interaction exists between the factors. But if the lines are not parallel, sometimes it may be have the intersections also. Intersections may be, and even the lines are not parallel, then we can say that there may be an interaction. Therefore, here one example I have included. Here we are going to identify this performance characteristic of microbial activity is needed to be investigated at these three temperature levels 20, 25 and 30, and at two humidity levels as 40% and 80% of level. Now the mean values are plotted for two factors. In the x-axis I have taken temperature and performance is measured, and now you can see that performance values are denoted in the y-axis, and you can see that these are the mean values obtained for 80% humidity. For 80% humidity, the value obtained at 20. For 80% humidity, value obtained at 25 is this. Then for 80% humidity, value obtained for the performance at 30 degrees. Likewise, we can have one line for 80% humidity, and we can obtain another graph in this same plot as for the 40% of humidity, is because we are having two levels in the factor humidity. Now you can see that the lines are parallel. Since the lines are parallel, we can conclude that there is no interaction among the factors. But in the second and the third graph, you can see that we are not obtaining the parallel lines. In the second graph, the lines are not parallel. In the third graph, you can see clearly that there is an intersection between these two lines. Therefore, in these two situations, we can simply say that the existence of interaction. Therefore, as soon as see in the graph, you can say that you may able to say that whether there is an existence of interaction among these effects. Now we will focus on the two-factor factorial design, or we can say it as the two-way classification design. In this method, we are going to investigate about the behavior of two factors. Here we are going to identify two factors. When we are going to identify the two factors, the effect of these two factors, I am naming them as factor A and factor B. And factor A may have A number of levels, while factor B have B number of levels. And this is the format that we are used to represent the data. Here, if you consider about the this table, this set of values, you can use this set of values. This is the values that you have obtained for factor first level of factor A and first level of factor B. Here for each level, I have used n number of observations. Then this is the set of n number. Here we will have n number of observations. It is for the first level of factor A and first level of factor B. And here I have obtained the row totals. Here it is the row totals. I have used letter I for denote the column values and letter J for denote the row values. Therefore, here I can see that the totals of the row values are included in this column, and the mean value of the row. It means that simply you can take the mean of this set of values, it means that total has to be divided by the total number of observations. Therefore, you can easily obtain the row mean values for each and every row. And here you can see that it is the column total, like same as previously. You can obtain the column means in this way. And here you can see that it is for the grand mean and grand total, and this is for the grand mean. This is the way that we are used to denote the data format in the two-factor factorial design. Two factors with one factor A with A number of levels, factor B with B number of levels. And for each level of this combination should contain N number of observations. Now we will see the statistical model for two-factor factorial design. This is the statistical model that we are going to identify for two-factor factorial design. Here the model is Yijk, where mu plus alpha I plus beta j plus alpha beta ij plus epsilon ijk. And if you go through these terms here, Yijk is the observation that we are obtaining for the kth number of experimental unit in the ith level of factor A and jth level of factor B. Kth number of observation we are identifying for the ith level of factor A and jth level of factor B, where mu is the overall mean, or we are saying it as the grand mean, and alpha I denotes the main effect due to the ith level of factor A. Alpha I denotes the main effect due to the ith level of factor A, and beta j denotes the main effect of jth level of factor B. And now you can see it is somewhat a strange term for you. It is because in the previous sessions we have not discussed about this type of term. It is because in the previous models that we have discussed previously, no interaction terms were discussed in that model. Therefore, in this factor factorial model, now you can see that there is an interaction between these two terms. Therefore, now you can see the interaction term is alpha beta, and it is denoted by the subscripts I, J. It is alpha beta. It is actually a combination. Therefore, you can apply I and J as well. Then epsilon ijk is the, we are denoting it as the random error. When we are testing and interpreting the results of these two-factor factorial experiment, this is the statistical model we are using, and then thereafter we have to test for this two-factor factorial experiment. It means that we need to identify whether there is existence of interaction, whether there is effect of main effects. Likewise, we have to go for several testing. But when we are going to test the hypothesis using this two-factor factorial design, the hypothesis should be tested in a hierarchical manner. It means that when you are going to test for the hypothesis in the two-factor factorial design, first you have to test for the interactions. It is the first hypothesis that you are testing using this two-factor factorial design. The first hypothesis you are going to test for the interaction. Therefore, if and only if the interaction is not significant, it means that there is no any significant interaction, then we can go for testing of main effects. Then and there only we can still go for testing of main effects. We'll see how this hierarchical manner of hypothesis can be made up. Okay, but prior to this hypothesis, I will just brief about the assumptions that we are using. Here we are saying that the observation for each treatment combination constitute independent random samples, each of size n from populations. And the next assumption is the population is normally distributed, and the next assumption is the population should have the same variance sigma squared. We are using we are assuming equal variance among the populations, and we are saying it is normally distribution, and for some we are having equal sample sizes. Random and independent samples should be there with the each of having n as the sample size. And now we will again go back to this hypothesis testing, and this is the first hypothesis that we are going to test for. In the first hypothesis that we are going to test, we are testing the hypothesis for the interaction among the factors. As previous I have told you, we are testing for the interaction among the factors as the first hypothesis. Therefore, now this is the null and alternative hypothesis we are used for the testing procedure. And here you can see that there is some superscript letters included within the bracket. It says that it is the first step of this hypothesis testing, and under the first step we are testing for null hypothesis as interaction. There is no interaction effect. It means that interaction is 0 versus interaction is not equal to 0. Therefore, this is the first hypothesis that we are going to test. And if it is not rejected, now think about, if the interaction is not rejected, it means that, and simply we can say that there is no any interaction effect. There is no any interaction effect. Then we can say that if there is no any interaction, it means that in the graph snare gives you the parallel lines. If the graph snare gives the parallel lines, what you can say? There is no any interaction. Therefore, if it is not rejected means, if we say interaction is 0, then we can say that there is no interaction among A and B. Therefore, they can, factor A can independently behave as well as factor B can independently behave. Therefore, these factor A and B are meant to be the main factors for the experiment, and therefore now what we have to do, since this null hypothesis is not rejected, it means that there is no interaction, then we are testing for the main effect. Therefore, when we are going to testing for the main effects, we have to test for the main effect of A as well as the main effect of B. When we are going to test for the main effect of A, we can say it is a simple thing that we have discussed previously, which is quite as the CRD method, just having one factor as factor level A. Here you may have first factor of level factor A, second level of factor A, likewise eighth level of factor A. Here what we are going to do is we are testing whether all these factor level means of all these factor levels are same or not. The hypothesis using here is mean level of a number of factors are equal together, at least two treatment means are differ from factor A. It is two treatment differ for factor A. This is how we are using to test the main effect of A by considering this as a CRD, and for the factor B also we can use another CRD technique. Now you are separately testing this. Here these are the factor levels of factor B. Here we had the number of levels. Therefore, we can perform another CRD for testing for effect of factor B. Therefore, we can perform this calculation if and only if we need to test for the, if we obtain the result from the very first hypothesis as that there is no any interaction effect. There is no any interaction effect. Okay. If null hypothesis is not rejected, then we have to, we cannot say that the levels of factor A is independently behave and factor levels of B are independently behave. It means that there is a combination among factor A and factor B. Therefore, it is difficult to, if in such situation, it is difficult to make generalization concerning behavior of factor A and B. Here, what we are going to do is, here we are need to compare the levels of factor A with each level of factor B and vice versa. It means that if we are considering one level of factor A and then test it with the all the levels of factor B, and in the vice versa also we have to test. It means that we are considering, we are first selecting one level of factor B and then testing it for all the levels of factor A. Then we have to do this procedure. Therefore, altogether we may have A plus B number of one-way analysis procedures we may need to use. We need to use A plus B number of one-way analysis. Okay, therefore, if you are going to do it for do the hypothesis testing, it is quite like this. It is now in the second stage, you have tested these two hypotheses, and in the third stage, you are selecting a given number of a given value for this J. It means that for the factor level B, first we have testing factor B, and then we have to test for factor level A. And this is the hypothesis we are performing to test for those hypotheses. And here we would, as according to the example that we are considering, it was we had 3 levels of temperature and 2 levels of humidity. If you consider these are the two humid levels, humidity level as factor A and temperature level as factor B. Now, if these two happens, it means that if it is at the very beginning, if it is identified that there is no interaction effect for the performance of the bacteria from temperature and humidity, it means that no interaction effect. And in the other way around, if there is existence of interaction, if there is no interaction, then we can perform these two hypotheses for the temperature independently, for the humidity independently. But if it gives the result that we are rejecting H naught, it means that we are saying that there exists a significant difference among the factors, what we can do is we can test for these combinations. When we are testing the combination, it is quite like this. In the previously what we had was we had 3 temperature levels. We had 1, 2 and 3. These are the 3 temperature levels. It is 20, 25 and 30 we have considered, and then we had 2 levels of humidity. Okay, I will anyhow use the same values. Value 20 was there, value 25 was there, and value 30 was there. And here you can see we had two humidity levels. Humidity level 40 was there, humidity level 80 was there. Humidity level 80 was there. Then what we can do, if there is an existence among the interaction, if there is an existence of interaction, then we have to perform the hypothesis testing in this form. First, we have to test the hypothesis considering the humidity levels. Now we are taking this set of values. First, we are considering this set of values. First, we are considering this set of values. It means that we are going to consider the temperatures. We are going to consider the temperatures, whether there is any effect from the temperature at the humidity level 40 is the first hypothesis we are considering, and in the second hypothesis we are redo it for the temperature level, humidity level of 80. This is how we are performing if the existence of interaction. Then we have done it for now the first factor. Then we have to redo the same thing for second factor. In the second factor, we are considering this the temperature level 20. We are considering temperature level 20, and now we are going to identify whether there is any difference between these two humidity levels. And once we finish it, then we have to select the next temperature level. It is 25. Then again we have to test for the significant difference among these two humidity levels on the performance, and then thereafter we are considering this third one. It is for the third temperature. Therefore, this is the main idea that we need to learn under this two-factor factorial design. This is the analysis of variance or ANOVA table that we are used to test for the hypotheses using the two-factor factorial design. Here you can see that when we are going to construct this hypothesis this ANOVA table for hypothesis testing, here you can see that in the previous we had just treatment, error and totals now and main factors only. Now you can see that since we were interested about these interaction terms, then what we can do is we can test include the test for the interaction terms also. Therefore, the source of variations would be now treatment, main effect A, main effect B, interaction effect AB, error and the total. And the degrees of freedom would be for the treatment AB minus 1, for treatment A minus 1, then B minus 1. For the interaction A minus 1 into B minus 1, it is the multiplication of these two. Then for the error, it is AB times n minus 1, and for the total, it should be AB times n minus 1. A into B into n, then minus 1. And when we are using the two-factor factorial design, you need to at least use two number of replicators. It means that value of n should be at least equal to 2. Otherwise, the error degrees of freedom will become 0. Therefore, the minimum number of replications that you can use inside in the two-factor factorial design is 2. Therefore, minimum of uh, two observations should be obtained. Minimum number of two observations should be obtained for each combination of factor levels. Therefore, this is how we are obtaining the degrees of freedom. And the next important thing is actually this A, B and AB term. A, B and AB term. We are elaborating this treatment using these three terms. Therefore, actually, if you add these three values, then it should give you the degrees of freedom of the treatment also. If you add A minus 1, B minus 1 into this quantity, then you will end up with these degrees of freedom as AB minus 1. It is because we are using these three terms to elaborate the treatment. And these are the notations used for sum of treatment, sum of viscous for treatment, main effect, interaction, error, and the total. Here, one notation should be changed. This should be corrected as SST. It is for the SS or sum of viscous of total sum of viscous. And you can easily obtain the mean viscous just dividing the sum of viscous by degrees of freedom, and F ratio can be obtained using getting the mean viscous, getting the ratio between mean viscous of the considered factor and the mean viscous error. Therefore, the FLA for treatment would be mean viscous of treatment divided by the mean viscous error. Likewise, you can simply obtain the F ratio values. And the next important thing is, I told you this A, B and interaction is just the elaboration of treatment. Therefore, if you add these three values, the values for sum of viscous for AB and AB, then it should equal to the value of sum of treatment. It is the relationship among these four terms. It is because we are using AB and interaction, main effects and interaction, just to elaborate the treatment on. Okay, now we will see about some useful formulas to construct the ANOVA table. This can be used as the useful formulas. Then first here also, when we are dealing with this calculation, first of all, we can use this correction factor. It is the grand total square divided by number of levels in factor A into number of levels in factor B into number of observations in each combination. Then SST it is the summation of square term of observation minus the correction factor. Here SS treatment, in the SS treatment, what we are going to do is we are going to identify all the treatment combinations. First of all, we need to take the treatment combination total and then square it, then divide by number of observation in each combination, and then subtract the correction factor. When we need to identify the value of SSA, this equation can be used. It is the yi double dot square divided by bn minus cf. Here this says that first of all we have to take the ith row total, since we have considered if it is a as the row factor. Then if it is the row a is the row factor, then we have to consider ith row total should be or if we will say we'll take it as column factor, since we have in the example also we have used it in that way. If it is the column factor, then you can say uh, ith column total has to be taken and then squared it, then divide it by b into a. B is the number of levels in factor b, and n is the number of observation. Then you have to subtract the correction factor for factor identification of SSB. Then row totals has to be obtained and then square it, then get the total of them or get the summation, then divide by number of levels in factor A into number of observation in each combination, then subtract the correction factor. Then to identification of SSAB, it means that identification interaction sum of squares, we can use the relationship which I have tell you previously. It means that I told you we are using A, B and AB just to elaborate the treatment. A, B and AB just to elaborate the treatment. Therefore, you can use the SS values of each of these to easily obtain value for AB. The relationship that we had was that for the treatment, the addition of this to the addition of this. Therefore, now we are subjecting this term. Therefore, we can easily say SSAB is the, we have to subtract main effects from the treatment, and then we are using error sum of squares. We can obtain it same as previous. We have to subtract treatment sum of squares from the total sum of treatment sum of squares has to be subtracted from the total sum of squares. Okay, this is one example. I have included a microbiologist is interested in the effect of temperature and humidity level on the adaptation period of a bacteria. Here, the person has considered two temperature levels and two different humidity levels, and four experimental tested units observed, and then he or she has tested for each four combinations of these treatments, and then the obtained data are as follows. In the table you can see that in this table you can see that there are two levels of temperature, low and high, two levels of humidity, 40 and 80. Now you can see that altogether there are four combinations, and for each combination that person has used four experimental designs. At least two should be there, but anyhow, four experimental designs are used in here. Now you can see that now you are asked to write down the hypothesis, appropriate statistical model for this experimental experiment. Actually, we can use the two-factor design. It is because they are not asked us to say for any control variables here. It is no need of identification of extraneous variables. Here we can say this as temperature and humidity level as two factors. Therefore, identifying it as two factors, then what we can do is we can easily use the two-factor factorial design as the appropriate statistical model for this experiment. Then in the second one, they ask us to check for whether the interaction using a graphical method as well as using the ANOVA table, and they ask us to test for the relevant hypothesis. Ask us to test for the relevant hypothesis. Okay, now we will go for the solution of this problem. Actually, for the first part, you can see that in the first part, we can say that the two-factor factorial design is used here, And now you can see that the model is this, and I is for the factor level A. There are two levels of factor A, and J is for factor B. Again, two levels of factor B, and here you can I have to say correct this. There are four number of observation. Therefore, K is going from 1 to 4. K is going from 1 to 4, since I have used 1, 2, 3, and 4 number of observation in inside of each combination. And if I describe about these terms, then Yijk, it is the kth experimental unit in the ith level of temperature. Here I am considering ith level as the temperature, I as the temperature, and I am taking humidity as J. Therefore, we can say Yijk is the observation of the kth experimental unit in the ith level of temperature and jth level of humidity. Ith level of temperature and jth level of humidity. And mu is said to be the overall mean, and alpha I stands for the main effect due to the ith level of temperature, and beta j is the main effect due to the jth level of humidity, ith level of temperature and jth level of humidity. And alpha beta ij stands for the interaction defect due to ith level of temperature and jth level of humidity, ith level of temperature and jth level of humidity. Then epsilon ijk, it is for the random error. Epsilon ijk is for the random error. Okay, this is the first solution for the first part. We have just mentioned the uh, factor statistical model, as well as we can say, if you need, we can say that this is the two factor factorial design. This is two factor factorial design, and the appropriate statistical model is this, and these are the this is how we are defining the terms. And now we will going to see for the solution for second one. It is asked to identify whether there is interaction between the factors. Test this graphically, also using the ANOVA table. Okay. In the second one, you can see that it is the average value for each category, and for the average value of each category, here what I have done was I have at the four observations which is given here. Now you can see that four observations given. I have obtained the mean value for each combination. Therefore, first I have added for these four values and then divide by 4. Hence, I have obtained this value as 24. Likewise, I have obtained other three values. I have used the average values for each category. It is easy for us to construct the graphical method. Therefore, now I am using these mean levels to construct the graphical method. Then here the adoption period is included, and I have considered temperature as my x-axis. Therefore, in the temperature, I can see that there are two levels, low and high is given, and to denote the humidity level, I have used two separate notations. Therefore, to denote the low humidity level, to denote the 40% humidity level, I have used one symbol, and for the 80% humidity level, I have used another symbol. Now you can see that for the 40%, I have used this. I am saying I am using this dot for 40% humidity level, and I will use dot for humidity 40%, and I am using the triangle for uh, this next one. It is for the 80% humidity level. I am using triangle for 80% humidity level. Therefore, now these are the values I have obtained. Therefore, first I am drawing this graph. First I am selecting the humidity level of 40. Humidity level of 40. Therefore, I have to take these two values, 24 and 16. 24 and 16 was used. Then I have marked the 40% level using the dots. Therefore, low value was at the temperature low value was 24. Therefore, the adoption period was 24 here. Then 24 was marked here. Then for the temperature value high, there was a value as 16. Therefore, I have used 16 here. Then now it is finished for the 40%. Now I am taking the 80%. For the 80%, I am having two other values, 33 and 10. Then those two values has to be marked on the graph using different notation. Here the triangle was used. Then 33 somewhat here, it is for the low. Therefore, the temperature low, we had the value as 33, and for the temperature high, we had the value of 10. Therefore, this is how we are using this adoption period to mark the adoption period on the plot, denoting the temperature and the humidity level. Now you can see that the lines are not parallel to each other. Lines are not parallel to each other. It means that we can conclude that there is an interaction among these two factors. It is the temperature and humidity. Therefore, since the graph says that there is an intersection between two lines, in simply we can say even the graphs lines are not parallel, as well as here we can clearly see an intersection here. Therefore, we can say that there is an interaction between temperature and humidity level on the effect of this adoption period. This is how we are testing this graphically, and thereafter what we need to do is we need to test this using the ANOVA table. Therefore, first of all, we need to construct the ANOVA table, and to construct the ANOVA table, what we need to do is we need to obtain the totals first. Since I have used the letter I for temperature and letter J for humidity, then I can, this is the table I am obtaining, and these are the totals I have obtained for the given values. Here I double dot, it is the I row totals. Here we can see that two temperature levels were considered, low and high. For these two levels, I have considered the total as 228. Then 104 was used here. Then what I need to do is then obtain the column totals. The column totals are denoted by y dot j dot. Therefore, you can see that the two humidity levels were used. It is 160. The totals for 40% humidity level was 160, and then it is 172. 172 can obtain addition of these 8 values, 160 addition of these 8 values, and this 220 row total. It is the addition of first row. This 104 is the addition of the values in the second row. And in the next column, I am creating, this is for just for it will need for our calculation. Therefore, I am squaring each term and then getting the total for the first row, and here square each value and got the summation for the second row. Then this summation of ijk square term is obtained as 8,166. This is I have obtained at this point. It is because we will need this value for the further calculations. And then in the next table, what I have obtained was I have obtained the total for the combinations. Here you can see four values are included in low level of temperature and 40% of humidity. Therefore, the total obtained was 96. Likewise, I have obtained the combination totals. Therefore, 96, 183, 64, and 40 was here. Then now I have finished taking the row totals, column totals, and the combination totals were obtained. Now this can be denoted by, if you say this can be actually denoted by, it is for the ith treatment, ith level, jth level total. It is denoted by Yij dot. It is the values for the second notation for the values in the second table. Since I have got the all the totals, now I can use this equation to first obtain the correction factor. To obtain the correction factor, what I can do is I can obtain this y squared, the grand total squared divided by AB times n, grand total squared divided by AB times n. It means that 332 squared divided by 16. Therefore, the correction factor is now obtained as 6889. Taking the grand total 332, then squared it, then divided by 2 times 2 times 4. It is because here we can see that 2 levels of temperature, 2 levels of humidity, and 4 observations inside the combination. Therefore, I can obtain correction factor in this form. Then the calculation leads us to the answer 6889. Thereafter, what we have to do is we have to obtain the total sum of viscous. To obtain the total sum of viscous, we can use this equation. Anyhow, we have obtained the total of these terms now as the 8166. Then the correction factor should be subtracted from this value. Therefore, total sum of viscous is now equal to 1277. Then we need to identify the value for treatment sum of viscous. To identify the treatment sum of viscous, we need to identify these combination totals, and we are using the combination totals to identify the treatment. It is because altogether we had 4 treatment combinations. It is low with 40%, low with 80%, high with 40%, and high with 80%. Therefore, altogether we are now experiencing 4 treatment combinations. Therefore, those values will be applied here. Then we can get it as 96 squared. It is for the first one, and we had 4 number of observations. Therefore, divided by 4. Then next value was 132. Then square it and divide by 4. Likewise, we have to add the square term of these 4 values and divide each term by 4. It is because for each of these we have used the 4 number of observations. Since this is 4 is common for all, after adding these square terms at the end, you can even divide all the terms by 4. And the correction factor has to be subtracted from this quantity. Then it subjects to the answer as 1195. You can go through these calculations, and you can perform this calculation and obtain these answers by yourselves also. And now what we can do is, now we have already identified SS total and SS treatment. Therefore, we can obtain the error sum of viscous. Error sum of viscous can be obtained using the total sum of viscous minus the treatment sum of viscous. It is simply the difference of these two values. Therefore, if you take the difference, now you can obtain this error sum of viscous as 82. But still, we have obtained total sum of viscous for total is finished, treatment is finished. Now error is finished. Now what we have to do is, in the ANOVA table, you had treatment, total, error, and now the next is we need to elaborate this treatment sum of viscous. To elaborate this treatment sum of viscous, we can use the main effects as well as the interaction effects. For the main effects, we can say main effect of A, main effect of B, and for the interaction among A and B. Therefore, this is how we are obtaining the SS value for interaction. For the interaction, what we can do is we can simply obtain this as yi double dot square divided by b times n, yi double dot divided by b times n minus Cs. Here what we need to do is, here we have identified A as the temperature. Since we have identified A as temperature, we need to get the row totals here. Therefore, first of all, we need to identify the row totals and then square them and add them together. Therefore, we need to get the addition of 220.8 square and the 104 square. Then you have to divide it by 2 times 4. Here b is 2, it is the number of levels in factor b, then number of observations in combination. Therefore, then again this correction factor has to be subtracted from this. This leads to the answer as 961. Thereafter, we can go for the treatment B or the main effect of B. Here we have considered factor B as the column. Therefore, column totals has to be identified first and then scrap them and add them together. And divided by A times N, where A is the number of levels in factor A and N is the observation. Then subtract the correction factor. Then this leads to the main effect, sum of squares of B is equal to 9. To obtain the interaction sum of squares, what we can do is we can use this equation. It is, we can simply subtract the main sum of squares of main effects from this treatment sum of squares. Then once you subtract 961, it is for factor A and 9 is for factor B. Then treatment was 1195. Therefore, this leads to the answer as 225. This leads to the answer as 225. Okay, this is the ANOVA table. Now we can see. So far we have obtained this set of values, and I have included the values which I have obtained for treatment, effect A, effect B, interaction, error, and the total. Therefore, this is what I have obtained for sum of squares. Now we need to obtain the degrees of freedom. To obtain the degrees of freedom, the total degrees of freedom we had was, we can obtain it using A times B times N minus 1. We had 2 levels for factor A, 2 levels of factor B, 4 observations in combination, and this amount minus 1. Therefore, this is the value 16 minus 1. Therefore, the degrees of freedom of total is now equal to 50. And then we can simply first we can obtain this value, then we can easily obtain this set of values. We can obtain this set of values. Therefore, here we need to get, we had two levels in factor A. Therefore, 2 minus 1 gives you this value. Then B, first we will identify these two values. Value of the degrees of freedom of A, 2 levels were used, then 2 minus 1 was 1. Then for factor B, again 2 levels were used, 2 minus 1, it is again equal to 1. Then to obtain the interaction, you can simply take the multiplication of these two. To obtain the interaction, multiplication of these two values, then you can obtain it as interaction is equal to 1. Just taking the multiplication of these two, you can obtain the degrees of freedom for interaction. And now you can use these three values to obtain the degrees of freedom of treatment. Therefore, summation of these three values gives you the value as 3. Now you can use this 50. Now you can this value and the degrees of freedom value to, by combining these two values, you can obtain the value as 2. It is you just need to subtract 3 from 15. It is the difference of the treatment degrees of freedom and total degrees of freedom gives you the error degrees of freedom. This is the easiest way of calculating degrees of freedom without using the equations. Otherwise, if you are familiar with the equations, then you can use the equations directly. And anyhow, if you are without using the equations, but just by using the concepts only, then total has to be obtained first. Then this fixed effect or the main effects has to be obtained second. Then multiplication of these two values gives you the degrees of freedom in interaction, and total of these three values gives you the treatment degrees of freedom in treatment, and the difference of degrees of freedom in total and treatment gives you the error degrees of freedom. To obtain the mean square, what you need to do is you need to take the ratio between sum of squares and degrees of freedom. Therefore, you can see that this is the set of mean square values we have obtained, and using this mean squares we can obtain the F ratio. It is we need to take is we need to take the ratio between this mean square of treatment A, B, and interaction term with the mean square error. Therefore, once you take the appropriate ratios, then you will end up with the F ratios in this form. Therefore, this is the ANOVA table that we can use for the given set of data, and then what we need to do is using this ANOVA table, we need to test for the interaction. It is the first hypothesis that we need to test. Therefore, first we will go to test for the hypothesis. First, we will test the hypothesis. Therefore, testing the first hypothesis says that uh, here what we need to do is we need to check for the interaction. To check the interaction, we are writing the hypothesis in this form. You can see that there is no interaction versus there existent interaction. Therefore, what you can use is you can use the F ratio obtained for the hypothesis, F ratio obtained for the interaction to test the hypothesis. Here you can see the value was 32.94. The obtained value was 32.94. 32.94. This is the calculated F value. But what we need to do is we need to identify the critical value. Now, when we are going to identification of critical value, what you can do is to identify the critical values. Here we need to use the error degrees of freedom in interaction, as well as the error degrees of freedom in interaction, and the degrees of freedom in error. According to the ANOVA table, you can see that degrees of freedom for interaction was 1 and degrees of freedom for error was 12. Therefore, you can refer the F table to obtain this value. Then the obtained value is now equal to 4.7472. Now you have to compare these two values. You have to compare these two values. You need to compare this value and this value. Now you can see that the calculated value is greater than the critical value. Therefore, you can comment on this. You can say that the calculated value falls into the rejection region since it is greater than the critical value. It is because you are having the F table in this way, F distribution. Using the critical value, you have obtained it somewhat here. It was 4.7472, but the calculated value is somewhat far away from this in the rejection region, 32.94. You can simply say that this is the rejection region we are using, and this is the rejection region. Therefore, since the value falls into the rejection region, we can simply say that we are going to reject our null hypothesis under 5% significance level. We are going to reject the null hypothesis under 5% significance level. Therefore, if you are rejecting the null hypothesis under 5% significance level, what you can comment more on this is you can say that existence of two-way interaction is significant. Two-way interaction is significant. Therefore, factor A cannot behave independently, as well as factor B cannot behave independently. Therefore, in this situation, you do not need to check for the factors separately. You do not need to test for the main effect of temperature, or else test for the main effect of humidity. Therefore, instead of that, what we need to do is first we need to identify, it is for the third part. For the third part, what we need to do is First of all, we will take the 40% of humidity level. We will take 40% of humidity level, and it was the value for J. Value for J was 1 here, and J equals 2 for 80% of humidity level. Therefore, now what we need to do is, for the level of J equals 1, for the level J equals 1, what we need to do is we need to identify whether and H naught, whether the mu is same for two temperature levels. Therefore, here we need to test for the temperature levels, first temperature level total and second temperature level total. This is for 40% of humidity level we can check it, and for the 80% of humidity level, again we have to perform this hypothesis. Therefore, here we are testing for first temperature level, it is the low temperature level, and this is the high temperature level, and it is for the J equals 2. It is for the J equals 2. Now, this is coming under the second set of hypotheses we are using, and second set of hypotheses we are using. And for the third set, what we need to do, what we need to do is, now we are setting the temperature levels. Therefore, here first temperature level is low, and second temperature, it is for I equals 2, second temperature level was high. Therefore, what we need to do is, we need to again test for the hypothesis. In this hypothesis testing, it is the third level now. Third level of hypothesis we are using. Here we need to test for the total under the, it is the total under the first total on, it is like this. It is for the, we need to test for the humidities under this temperature level 1 or low temperature level, as well as we need to repeat it for the temperature level 2 also. In the temperature level high, we need to test for the humidity level 1 and humidity level 2. Therefore, this is how we need to perform the testing for the third part to obtain the answer for the third part. Therefore, you can simply obtain this as CRD methods. Here, what we need to do here is, by considering 40% values, first take the 40% values only, and then create a table using this low temperature and high temperature. Now you can see there is a set of values, set of 4 values. Then you can perform the CRD for these two treatments. Then repeat it for 80% also. Then after finishing this, repeat this for 80% by considering low humidity and high for the 80% humidity, low and high temperature. And then in the vice versa also, you have to do it. It means that first select the low temperature, and then for 40% humidity and 80% humidity you are testing. For each of these, you may have 4 values. Here also, you may have 4 values. After finishing for low temperature level, you have to repeat it for the high temperature level. And this is all what I need to discuss for the two-factor factorial design. And thank you all for joining with this session.